dear students. I welcome you all to the fifth session of human reproduction. So in the last class, we have already studied about the process of spermatogenesis, which involves the production of sperm. So finally, let us know the structure of human sperm here. So as you can see in the diagram, the human sperm consists of three important parts. So the human sperm is a functional motile male gamete which is produced in the testis, and it contains paternal set of chromosomes obtained from the father, and it also helps in activation of the egg. So human sperm is the most important male gamete produced during the process of spermatogenesis. So finally, let us know the structure of human sperm. So human sperm consists of three important parts, namely head, middle piece and tail. So head is the anterior part, first part of the human sperm is considered as the head, and it in turn contains nucleus and acrosome. So nucleus, it contains the chromosomes obtained from the father, that is paternal chromosomes, and acrosome. So in the diagram you can see acrosome, it is present anterior to the nucleus, and it is in the form of a cap-like structure which contains different types of enzymes like acrosin, neuraminidase, etc. So this acrosome, it helps the sperm to penetrate the egg. So during the process of fertilization, the sperm, it has to penetrate the egg with the help of acrosome. So head consists of two important parts, namely nucleus and acrosome. Next, neck. So neck is the middle part in between the head and the middle piece. So neck is also called as the cervix. So after the neck, the next part is the middle piece. So the middle piece is cylindrical in its structure, or it is rectangular in its structure, and it contains centrioles and mitochondria. So middle piece contains two important parts, namely centriole and mitochondria. So finally, centriole, they are of two types, proximal centriole and distal centriole, which gives rise to the central filament, which is called as axoneme, and the mitochondria, it provides energy for the sperm to move. So finally, the middle piece contains two important parts, namely centriole and mitochondria. So here the last part of the human sperm, it is called as the tail. So tail, it consists of two important parts, that is the main piece and the end piece. So main piece is the region of the tail where protoplasmic sheet is present, and end piece is the region in the tail where protoplasmic sheet is absent. So finally here the tail consists of two important parts, namely the main piece and the end piece. So as I have told you, main piece is the region of the tail where protoplasmic sheet is present, and end piece is the region in the tail where there is no protoplasmic sheet. So here the human sperm consists of head, middle piece and tail. So here in the region of middle piece you can see the presence of mitochondria, which is surrounded by a protective covering called as Nebenkern sheet. So it is covered by Nebenkern sheet. So this is the ultrastructure of human sperm. So this is the ultrastructure of human sperm, where you can see that the sperm, it is penetrating the egg envelope or the egg membrane. So the sperm, it can penetrate the egg by production of some enzymes in the acrosome, and as a result sperm penetration is the most important step of fertilization. So that you will be studying later. So this is the ultrastructure of human sperm. So semen. So what is semen? So semen is a lubrication produced by the accessory glands of the male reproductive system. So the male reproductive system consists of accessory glands like seminal vesicle, then bulbourethral gland, as well as prostate gland. So all these glands, they produce a lubrication which is called as semen. So what is the function of semen? So this semen, it helps in survival of the sperms, and it also helps in motility of the sperms. So sperms, they can survive for a longer period of time due to the presence of semen, and they also show some motility due to the presence of semen. So what is the composition of semen? So I think you remember semen, it basically contains, or it is basically made up of fructose, which provides energy for the sperm. It contains prostaglandins, which helps in movement of the sperm towards the egg, and semen also contains citric acid, which acts as a sperm nutrient. Semen also contains clotting factors, which helps in stopping the production of semen after the process of copulation. So finally sperms, they are released from the seminiferous tubules, and this process is called as spermiation. So finally after the production of the sperms, these sperms, they are released from the seminiferous tubules of the testes, and the process of release of the sperms is called as spermiation. So it is a 1 mark question. What is spermiation? So spermiation is a process of release of the sperms from the seminiferous tubules of the testes. So next, let us move on to the most important aspect of human reproduction as well as gametogenesis, which is called as oogenesis. So let us know what is oogenesis. So oogenesis is a type of gametogenesis. So during the process of oogenesis, there is production of a single egg. So a single ovum is produced during the process of oogenesis. So oogenesis involves the production of the egg from the ovary. So finally here, the process of formation of a haploid egg or the ovum from the diploid egg mother cell by undergoing meiosis in the ovary is called as oogenesis. So finally, by undergoing meiosis in the ovary, the production of egg takes place, and this process we call it as oogenesis. So I'll repeat it once again. Oogenesis involves the process of formation of a haploid ovum or the egg from the egg mother cells or oogonia by undergoing meiosis in the ovary. So here meiotic division plays an important role in oogenesis. So the entire process takes place inside the ovary. So next, let us know what are the phases in oogenesis. So phases is nothing but the steps involved in oogenesis. So the entire process of oogenesis gets completed in 3 phases or in 3 steps, and they are as follows. First is called as the phase of multiplication, or it is called as the period of multiplication. Second is the period of growth, or it is called as the phase of growth. And third is called as the phase of maturation, or it is called as the period of maturation. So the entire process of oogenesis gets completed in 3 phases, namely phase of multiplication, phase of growth, and phase of maturation. So here let us start up with the first phase, that is phase of multiplication. So here I think you remember the structure of ovary. So finally, in the structure of ovary, we can see the outermost covering for the ovary, which is called as germinal epithelium. So finally, in this germinal epithelial layer of the ovary, there are germinal cells, which are also called as primordial germ cells. So these primordial germ cells present in the germinal epithelium of the ovary. So they multiply in their number, they increase in their number by undergoing mitotic division, and finally they give rise to egg mother cells, which are also called as oogonia. So finally, in the phase of multiplication, the germinal epithelial cells or primordial germ cells present in the germinal epithelium of the ovary undergo mitotic division, and they give rise to numerous egg mother cells, also called as oogonia. So this is called as phase of multiplication. Now next, second phase, it is called as the phase of growth. So let us know what happens here. So in this phase of growth, the oogonia cells or the egg mother cells, they increase in their size. So how do they increase in their size? So these oogonial cells, they accumulate cytoplasm, they increase in their size, they accumulate some reserve food material, they accumulate yolk inside them, and hence they increase in their size. So finally, this phase is called as the phase of growth. So for your extra information, I want to tell you that the entire phase of growth completes in 2 steps. First is called as pre-vitelline phase where there is formation of cytoplasm and nucleus in the oogonial cells, and second is the vitelline phase where there is formation of yolk in the oogonial cells. So finally, in this phase of growth, there is increase in the size of the oogonial cells by accumulating reserve food material, by accumulating yolk, and hence they are now called as primary oocyte. So here in the phase of growth, the oogonial cells or egg mother cells, they increase in their size and now they are called as primary oocytes. Next, in the third and the last most important phase, which is called as phase of maturation. So finally, in this phase of maturation, there are two important steps. One is meiosis 1 and second one is meiosis 2. So finally, the entire phase of maturation gets completed in two steps, namely meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. So finally, in meiosis 1, the primary oocyte, it will divide into two structures. One is the secondary oocyte and another is the first polar body. So in the diagram it is clearly mentioned. So here in the first step of meiosis 1, the primary oocyte, it will divide into two structures, namely one secondary oocyte and another is the first polar body. And finally, in meiosis 2, the secondary oocyte, it will again divide into a large structure called as ovum, or it is also called as the ootid, and a small structure which is called as second polar body. So finally, the secondary oocyte in meiosis 2, it will divide into a large ootid and a small second polar body. And what about this first polar body? So this first polar body in meiosis 2, again it will divide to form polocytes. So this is about the process of formation of female gamete, that is the ovum, which is also called as the egg or the ootid. So this completes the phase of maturation. So this is the structure of ovary. So finally, as you know, ovary is an irregular sac-like structure which is covered by germinal epithelium. So these germinal epithelium contain germinal cells or primordial germ cells, and middle layer is vasculosa layer, that is, and third layer it is called as tunica albuginea. So finally, the ovary consists of three important layers, namely outer germinal epithelium, middle visceral epithelium, and inner is tunica albuginea. So in the ovary, you can see different structures. Primary oocyte, you can also see secondary oocyte, you can see primary follicles, secondary follicles. So, and most important structure inside the ovary, it is the Graafian follicle. So as you can remember, ovary contains cytoplasm. Cytoplasm, it is differentiated into outer cortex and inner medulla. So finally, inside the cytoplasm, there is a structure called as Graafian follicle. So this structure is very, very important because the development of the female gamete or the egg takes place in the Graafian follicle. So as a result, Graafian follicle plays an important role in the development of the female gamete. So this is the overall structure of the ovary. So here you can see primary follicle. So what is primary follicle? So when primary oocyte is surrounded by a single layer of cells, that is follicular cells, then we call it as primary follicle. And here you can also see secondary follicle. So what is secondary follicle? So when the primary follicle is surrounded by 2 or 3 layers of follicular cells, then we call it as secondary follicle. So there are different stages of development inside the ovary, that is primary oocyte, then comes secondary oocyte, primary follicle, secondary follicle, tertiary follicle, Graafian follicle. So all these are the different structures present inside the ovary. So let us have a look at the Graafian follicle. So as I have told you, Graafian follicle is the most important structure present inside the ovary. So the development and maturation of the ovum takes place in the Graafian follicle of the ovary. So as a result, Graafian follicle, it is and most important structure in the ovary, and it is also called by another one name, that is tertiary follicle. So remember, Graafian follicle, it is also called as tertiary follicle. So let us look at the ultrastructure of Graafian follicle. So Graafian follicle, it is surrounded by 2 important coverings, namely an outer fibrous covering called as theca externa and an inner vascular covering called as theca interna. So outermost covering for the Graafian follicle is theca externa. Internal covering is called as theca interna. So finally, inside the Graafian follicle, we can see a cavity. There is a hollow cavity and it is called as antrum. So this cavity, it is filled with a fluid which is called as liquor folliculi. So finally, Graafian follicle, it encloses a cavity which is called as antrum, and this antrum in turn consists of a fluid called as liquor folliculi. So this antrum, it is surrounded by many layer of follicular cells, and these cells are called as membrana granulosa cells. So the antrum, it is enclosed or it is surrounded by follicular cells, and hence this layer of cells we call it as membrana granulosa. So in the diagram you can see that these granulosa cells, they project inwards, they move inwards towards one side of the antrum, and that region we call it as cumulus oophorus. So cumulus oophorus is the projecting side of the granulosa cells. So finally here, towards one region of the Graafian follicle, there is the ovum or the female gamete. So the development of this ovum, it takes place in the Graafian follicle, and it is surrounded by 2 important layers, namely zona pellucida and corona radiata. So this is about the structure of Graafian follicle. So it may be asked for 5 marks. So you have to draw a neat label diagram of Graafian follicle and explain it. So this is the ultrastructure of Graafian follicle. So as you can see here, Graafian follicle, it is covered by two important coverings, namely outer theca externa and inner theca interna. The cavity inside the Graafian follicle, it is called as antrum, and it is filled with a fluid called as liquor folliculi. So inside the Graafian follicle, development of the ovum or the secondary oocyte takes place. So this ovum, it is surrounded by two important layers, namely zona pellucida and corona radiata. So as you can see that the entire antrum, it is surrounded on all the sides by granulosa cells, that is membrana granulosa cells. So these membrana granulosa cells, they move towards or they move inwards on one side of the antrum, and that we call it as cumulus oophorus. So this is about the ultrastructure of Graafian follicle. So most important step in oogenesis is ovulation. So what is ovulation? So ovulation is the process of release of the mature ovum. So after the development of the ovum inside the Graafian follicle, the release of the ovum takes place from the Graafian follicle of the ovary, and that we call it as ovulation. So ovulation is the most important step where there is release of the mature ovum. So ovulation involves the release of a mature ovum from the Graafian follicle of the ovary. So here the Graafian follicle at this stage undergoes rupturing. So the Graafian follicle, it will rupture or it will break off. So in the diagram you can see here the Graafian follicle, it has broken off or it has undergone rupturing, and as a result of which the ovum or the secondary oocyte, it is released or it comes out of the Graafian follicle of the ovary. So this process is called as ovulation. So what is ovulation? So ovulation is the release of a mature ovum from the Graafian follicle of the ovary. So this process of ovulation takes place with the help of one hormone called as luteinizing hormone. So I think you remember this hormone. It is produced by the anterior lobe of pituitary gland, and it is abbreviated as LH hormone. So LH hormone, it helps in ovulation. So immediately after production of the ovum, this LH hormone, that is the secretion or production of the LH hormone, it goes on increasing, as a result of which this LH hormone, it helps in rupturing of the Graafian follicle, as a result of which the ovum is released. So this ovum, it is then taken to the fallopian tube where fertilization takes place.